So let's run into the next phase of today's stream, which is obviously World Creator 3, or in this case, this is an early version of World Creator 2021. So, in line with what we've been talking about, they've also been doing some upgraded changes to the UI and how everything works, different sliders and whatnot that will help you do things a little bit easier. The first thing I wanted to go to is the gear wheel icon here in the top right has some more options here for your general user interface things. But since he mentioned the textures, we have different options here at the top on how we want to import textures and the naming scheme. So when you have a line of textures in a folder, for example, like you do with Megascans. So in Megascans, there would be X amount of texture maps within a folder. So if you import, it's one, it should recognize the other textures that would fit in sort of that scope that World Creator uses. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
just fully adjustable. It automatically loads all the textures that are beneath the one that you selected. Yeah,
Yeah.
improving and
Mhm.
reducing clicks.
and then this is sort of the areas where we can customize if you have your own custom texture naming schemes on how to find those maps, then you can change it. So if you have a bunch of albedo maps that don't have the text color in it at the end as a suffix, then it may not find it. So you can change these naming schemes to whatever you use. These are just a starting point for uh, getting going for what's generally understood. Additionally, here we have multi language support. So, right now we have English and then we have Deutsch. So, German is native within the application now. But of course, there's going to be more languages added to this list, I presume,
Right.
not
Yeah,
just our
right.
own two.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of languages.
A bunch
The
of
same for the
languages for
website.
sure. And then you can have some customizations for user colors and stuff. They're still working on this, but one thing that we'll touch to here in a little bit is this generator section, which allows you to enable or disable the real-time generator as well as the filter live previews. So let me jump over to adding a filter real quick because we'll talk about some of the let's just add the new filter. So when you add a filter, there's going to be a couple different things. Everything is sort of grouped right now into sections that you're sort of used to in World Creator 2. So as you hover over these words, a pop out box will show the new text, the new filters. But if you were to say hover over balloon here, we get an instant preview of what each of these filters are going to do to our terrain without actually having to add that terrain. And if we will go back to the settings tab here, that's what this filter live preview option here is. So if you didn't want that, in case your computer couldn't handle the real time aspect of that, you can turn that off or on. And also, so let's go ahead and just add the new filter, which I believe is in plateaus. So a new filter here is the break filter.
Because one just as a short information, because it looks so strange with the naming
Oh yeah,
because of
that's probably the coding that you're having to do.
it yeah because it's not been translated to the other language,
Yeah.
and the same for the other ones. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
the
this
other
is
one is Phil,
it's still
so
alpha. It's not finished.
yeah, that's no worries. This is an early version. But the break filter lets you can sort of control how the how do you describe it? It changes up the regularity of the terrain. So at zero length, this is sort of the how the terrain looked before applying it, and then it sort of breaks up the generator's even smoothness or regularity. But it's a good way to make some interesting uh, cliff faces and terraced effects as well. And the other filter, and also since I mentioned it, so this real time generator obviously is going to have things turn everything into real time. So if you are on a laptop or a system that wasn't able to do some of these things in real time, they wanted to make that option for you guys as a choice to be able to generate what you're doing on screen on your terms. So if I were to turn off the real-time generator and go back here, you see we have now this generate button here in the bottom. If I were to now add a filter, and let's go ahead and add the other new filter, which is the fill filter. You see, we didn't get the preview when I hovered over it, and we didn't see it generate here on the terrain, but it's waiting for you to select the generate button. And within a second, for me, it just generated, but for everyone, it's not going to have as the same system. So if it's running a little slow and you're not able to do the real-time aspect, like I said, on a laptop, you can utilize this generate button and it'll do it within a few seconds. Of course, if you have a really intense scene, just be sure that you save before you hit the generate button if you have those problems. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn off real-time generator because we like everything real time here. And so the fill button, the fill filter is really interesting. It's kind of like a whole different sediment sort of filter that applies content to all of the concave areas automatically, almost as if you just dropped sand on top of a landscape in any of the nooks and crannies. It just fills in. Is that sort of the correct aspect that I was thinking of? Stefan.
Yeah.
He's like, of course.
Yes, actually does it. Yes, but it is doing it more accurately, and I personally think it looks even better. I mean, you can do a different sedimentation with it, so pretty cool. It's also goes quite well with the erosion filters, so especially with the grid simulation and all that stuff.
Of course,
it does really awesome stuff. And the break filter, because it breaks the terrain, because it just breaks the irregularity, it's just amazing, especially in combination with the erosion stuff. So I really like that.
Oh yeah, so I was actually going to do that.
If you want to smooth out the plateaus, and just reduce the last level steps. Yeah, here you can see that quite well.
Oh yeah, reduce the last level steps here.
Break, then you just smooth it out over there. This is pretty cool.
Oh yeah. So again, yeah, so this is really cool. So I can add the erosion flow and it does this, or add the fill, but I was going to add erosion flow a little afterwards. So one quick thing I wanted to say is in the comments, yes, not everybody has 4 Titan X's to run this in real time. I don't have 4 Titan X's. I just have a 2080 Ti, and I realize not everyone has one of those, or even the new 3000 series cards. So that's the beauty of that generate button. It provides you the option to, generate it on your own initiation, because in World Creator 2, when you had multi-frame generation turned on, it helped that process out, but it still tried to, generate everything in real time as best as possible. At least in this way, if you aren't able to do certain things in real time, like the most filters that are going to give you issues in real time is the really intensive ones, like the sedimentation stuff or the erosion stuff. A lot of those filters that require a lot more compute cycles to generate are obviously going to take more of your GPU power to display. So if you're wanting to do something on a laptop on an airplane, you can totally do that and just click generate and it'll let you run through it. It may not be super fast, but it'll still let you do that more traditional way of generating a terrain. So you have both options. So I've been doing some stuff here on the side, but I just wanted to note that in addition to another UI change is how the sliders work. So like in this height range here, it's much easier, at least for me, to see what's going on. And these sliders here down below control the feathering of where that range is. So actually, if I were to just then do this, you can see that line is right here. And I can control the top feathering a little bit. So now with this filter, we're just making it sort of look like we've added sedimentation in there without actually using the sediment filter or sediment complex filter, which you can totally do. And then adding erosion flow on top of that, just these 3 filters alone makes this look pretty nice. And of course, I'm going to just increase the precision level here. And I mean, it's just that easy. We can, at this point, just go ahead and texture it however we want. So yeah, they did a lot of UI updates with how the sliders work. Let's see, which we can't yet. Are we going to be able to say if we wanted to manually type in a number here? Of course, this level of control is much easier than it was before, but I almost wonder if we're able to manually type in these numbers. I know we can on some things, but obviously,
of course. For the text boxes, there's another feature. If you hover over the text box, choose. And now let me see. Which was it? It was the middle mouse button. If you click it and use the mouse wheel, you can increase the step size in which the text box is increasing. If you're increasing, because you also could just left click the text box and hold and drag left right to increase the values or decrease the values. Should work for the text box as well.
No, I'm clicking middle mouse here, unless you meant this.
Maybe I'm just explaining a bit too raw.
Oh, I see. No. It's I was doing it incorrectly. User error here. With the height range here in this one, for example, this icon pops up and I press down on middle mouse and I just move my mouse up, like physically move the mouse up and down while I'm holding in on the middle mouse button. That works as intended, or left and right. Actually, if I hold down on the middle mouse button and then move my mouse physically left and right, I'm able to do that. In addition to left mouse click works too.
Okay.
So this one works. The height ranges aren't set up for that yet, I don't think. But the height range and these, you can see these icons pop up for that.
Yeah. I can't explain it. I can show it up.
Yeah, no problem. Anyway, all right. So the next thing I wanted to show, which is a big aspect to this program. So I'm going to start a new project altogether. And then, everyone knows that everything about MapTiler. So let me turn this off. All right. Why is that popping up? Anyway, so MapTiler. So we can now have DEM data within World Creator 2021, which is really fantastic. So one thing that we can do, so to initiate that, is in the biome icon here, and it's under the custom base shape tool. And then you click create.
Change. It will be put over to the surface tool afterward.
Oh no! Hold on, I gotta reload it. I did something.
Yeah, no worries.
I did something you didn't like. Oh yeah, go away. all the things are happening. All right, so create. All right, so custom base shape, and then so it's not going to be here. It's going to be in a different section at some point. You were saying?
Yeah, it will be. I mean, that the DEM data will be under the surface tab afterwards, and you will be able to have multiple DEM data and combinations, so you can include as many as you want and combine them.
Gotcha. So it'll be here under the surface at the beginning.
Yeah, it will be. Exactly.
Okay. So, but for now, in this particular version, you can see I've got the whole planet here. So now how to get this in there under the settings panel, we're just going to showcase MapTiler's website right now.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things of course, you can get this information from MapTiler, or you can get this information from, I suppose, any other source that provides an API link for you. So for example, if I want to grab the height map data, I'm going to go to RGB terrain here. And then under the raster tiles, I just need this particular link here. So API.MapTiler and a bunch of stuff. I won't show you the whole string here, but seemingly either from MapTiler or from another source where you're able to get something like an API link, you'll copy that for both. So this is the height map data. And if you want the satellite data, you choose the tile that says satellite. And you see here is the textured information for the whole planet. And it segments the planet into different areas and different tiles. So again, on this particular string, you'll copy that API link. And respectively, under the settings cogwheel, down here under the map location for the elevation map data or the height map data, you'll put in the API website link in there. And for the satellite map or the texture map of the planet, you'll put it in this API link here and click apply. Once you click apply, then whenever you go to find where in the planet you want to go, this box here will then be displayed. So I know that at some point you can either use MapTiler for yourself, or you can use it. I'm sure there's some other sources out there that have APIs, and I'm assuming that's how it works, Stefan, where if you have an API from a DEM source that you want to use, you could subsequently use it.
No, you can't.
Oh.
It's an exclusive deal with a MapTiler.
Oh, I said incorrectly then. So this is a MapTiler thing only then. Well, will people? So would people be able to, like, if they were able to find DEM data of their own, be able to somehow use that in the future?
Yes, of course. This will be like in World Creator 2, where you just import existing height maps on the go, like for the stamps.
Gotcha. So this feature of having the DEM data, like I'm doing here, displayed within World Creator is just a MapTiler feature. Correct?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I mean,
gotcha.
Okay. So the DEMs. So what we are offering. So the idea was that we want that World Creator users are able to have global data sets of the same equal quality globally available. So they're not running into issues where they are looking for terrain data or satellite images and trying to fix that somehow using other tools and pushing them into World Creator, see it doesn't fit again. So repeat steps, step 1, step 2, and so on. You need to increase the subdivisions a little bit.
Oh, I know. I'm getting there. So yeah, okay. Of course, increase subdivisions to get more of the data to come through.
Right. So that was the basic idea of all this, right? We've contacted quite a bunch of people about this, and I must say that MapTiler was the only one that really were open to this. They are really amazing people over there. They're from Switzerland, by the way, so they're neighbors from us. And they're pretty nice guys, really. So really amazing. And what's so cool about this is like, so you don't have to have a paid MapTiler account. You can, of course, you need to sign up on MapTiler because you want to access the data. So you're signing up on MapTiler, for example, for the free trial. And that free trial gives you a specific amount of tokens that you can use directly, which means like how many times you can access the data and download it. So when in World Creator, if you're zooming on this world map, zoom in, zoom out, we do have caching, of course, but each download takes, for instance, or for example, a token, right? And let's say you have 100,000 tokens or so. So you can just use it. You can download the data. You can view the data. You can manipulate the data. You will see later on this video that you also have access to the satellite image.
Oh yeah, we're getting to that.
Exactly. But for the free account that you have on MapTiler, you're not allowed to use the data for commercial reasons outside of World Creator. Okay, so that's the limit. So if you want to use the data for your commercial products, you need to pay the stuff on MapTiler. So you need to pay for the data.
Mhm.
But this is something that you would have done anyways. Okay, so you would have to pay anyways if you want a good quality and a high quality data. You would have to pay for it anyways. So the cool thing about this is that you have the data now inside World Creator. You can navigate and see it like a demo of MapTiler data. You can see how it affects your terrain. You can design the stuff and all this stuff. And if you think, okay, that's it, what I want to use for my productions, then let's go to MapTiler, see what they want. And I mean, they have a paid subscription. I think it's $24 per month. So if you just sign up for that paid subscription, you already, as I know, you would have the right to use it for your productions already. They do make a difference between small companies and large companies. So this is something that they will announce, or they're working already on it. So if you're, for example, an enterprise company, a really large company, right, then you would have to pay a little bit more for it for sure. But that's I mean, for World Creator, we have the same license model, right? The enterprise customers, because they're using it commercially in a huge segments, right, earning a lot of money with their products. They also have to pay more for it. So, but initially, if you want to see it and want to use it and want to play with it, and you want to do screenshots and whatever you want to do, artistic stuff or so, you can just go on, just create a free account, use it, and do your work. It's free. Okay, it's nothing you would have to pay for, unless you come to the point where it comes commercial for you. Then you would have to pay for it. What I really like is that it's not like you have to select an area, download it, and generate it.
Exactly, because again,
right.
I've applied 2 filters to Mount Rainier here in Washington. And just within here, you don't have to say, I want to grab this area. I can just move it around, and the filters are just going with it. But yeah, I can just move or can capture any location that I want.
Yeah.
Of course, my filters are going to have to catch up there.
Because Kiwi is just asking, what if we make a map for personal use in Unreal Engine 4? Please be aware that MapTiler was before not meant for the gaming industry or something like that. So actually, it was like we were contacting them and pretty awesome talks with them and pretty nice people. They realized that there's an interest for artists and for gaming companies, probably to get data, real world data, manipulate that, and get that into their productions. Okay, so this is some sort of a license which is quite new. So they need to see how this works for them, which means if you're not sure because you can't find any information yet on their website regarding this thing, it's completely new. Okay, so don't run to them now and ask. Wait until we have another update that we're going to release. Until then, they probably will have the license stuff adapted a bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're unsure, just ask them. It's okay. It's just costs you a single email, and they're going to answer you. So if you're not sure, ask them first. However, what's going to be in the next, well, in the public in the next public available alpha? I mean, your alpha that you have is built just for you, right? It will have a logo watermark. So for the free account, it would especially because the satellite maps, these are the issues, right? The satellite maps will be watermarked, just like Google does. Okay. So if you're exporting the data, you will have to respect the license. We will give you the warning that you will have to respect the license, and the watermark will be branded in the satellite image for the free account. And if you go commercial, of course, you don't want the watermark logo anymore. So you would have to pay for it. And after you pay it, you just, I mean, this is done automatically within World Creator. The watermark is then removed. And the watermark will be applied by them. But using your paid account, the watermark will not be applied on the maps. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Seems good.
Yeah. And one thing to mention. I mean, the global height maps available on MapTiler, they have yeah, it was a roughly resolution about 30 meter per pixel.
Mm-hmm.
Now again, this is where the combination of World Creator makes so much sense, right? Because World Creator does not need high resolution input data to create high resolution terrains for you. And this is what really comes cool. This is why the filters that you just applied, Tyler, why they work so pretty awesome, and why they're upscaling the terrain and resolution.
Yes.
Much better, right? So don't worry about the 30 meter resolution height map information, because World Creator is turning it. If you just increase the
subdivisions and the precisions,
just turning it into a much higher resolution for you. So, and that's why what I was saying about the AI, right? So for World Creator, it's just enough to have the rough shape, right? It's just enough, because the rest, the filters, are doing just amazing work.
Yes, definitely. And it's, yeah, even this, we can see how well this performs just based on just moving around Mount Rainier here. And of course, in later episodes, because we're getting close to the max of what we want to do today. But of course, next week we'll probably do another stream or I'll probably do another stream where I'll just go through some of these things a little bit more minute, or we'll play around with it and hang out. But of course, we can scale this height information like we've done in World Creator 2 before. So we can even go to a specific latitude and longitude if we want to find that specifically, or anything like that. And at some point, because this is an arbitrary window, I am assuming whenever you add this sort of level of customization to the surface section of this program, where if you say, hey, I want to zoom in on this mountain, but I want my terrain to, like this, the size of my terrain to fit to the scale of the mountain on a realistic level if you want. So say if you had a 8K terrain in physical, size, I want to zoom in on this spot and I want to make this selection here to zoom into what 8K, 8 kilometers by 8 kilometers would be. And then that way you can capture the realistic size for a height map for what you're modeling, basically. Because right now it's just by you zooming in and out, the scale is obviously going to be random. So at some point, I'm sure there'll be options to be able to specify, hey, I want to capture this 8K by 8K area and use that. Is that something you think would work? Or I don't know how the MapTiler scaler works in relation to how it's fed into here. Is that accurate, Stefan? You still there?
Yes. I was answering a question on the chat.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. Yeah.
What was your last question?
Oh, it was if I wanted to capture an 8K by 8K area or 16K by 16K area physically in the real world, could we like specify that somehow in the MapTiler window here instead of it being random like this?
It will be okay. I mean, this is this is a different workflow. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we I mean, you can't do right now because we have we haven't integrated the tiling feature into Word Creator 2021 yet.
Right.
So um, yeah. So my imagination of this is like if you're using real world data, you're actually either do that default movement that you do here, or you just enter the corner coordinates of the area that you want, or you just enter the size here in that window to see to get that area that you actually want, right? And in the back, World Creator is creating the required tiles to be able to display that large area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I mean, we're thinking about like we're limiting the resolution per tile, just to prevent issues with the older GPUs. Maybe this will be just optional, like okay, I have a very powerful GPU, so why should I limit the resolution per tile? So maybe I can do 16K or 32K in real time, which means that 32K, I think personally, will be possible to do in real time on a 3090. We need to test this,
Mm-hmm.
but it works so far. It's not pure real time, depending on the filters that you're using, but this is something really cool. And so instead of using the resolution, Word Creators is going to add multiple tiles surrounding on this initial tile, for example, or yeah, I mean into any direction to get the desired map size that you want.
Perfect. The last thing I wanted to show here was that satellite imagery that we downloaded. We could use that satellite image as a texture. So just in here in the materials, the single material, there's a little checkbox here that says use satellite image. So now here is the actual satellite image mapped out precisely on top of the satellite's DEM data. So this is exactly the real world capture of how it is represented in obviously real life. And so it's lining those up perfectly and it looks fantastic. And I don't have probably not enough time to really dive into the texturing aspect of this today, but seemingly you can actually use this satellite image. So say if you don't want to use this satellite image for your final texture on whatever you're using it for, you can if you want. But if you have custom textures you want to replace, like if I had a custom grass I wanted to replace right here, or a custom snow texture that I wanted to replace all the snow that's being displayed here, we could grab the snow as a color and use that color as a mask. And then you can see here, if I were to add a new material, we can choose now to import an albedo, a normal, roughness, or AI. So if I click on albedo, I can specify this albedo texture here. It's loading. So this is just a regular Megascans texture. So I can import all of these things. So now it automatically filled in the other texture maps here because the Megascans don't use they use albedo as their naming scheme instead of color. So that's where you'd go here. If you had Megascans textures to use, just put albedo here. And when you select an albedo or you select a normal in your folder, it just fills in the other remaining textures. And you can see how well this actually comes in pretty nice. But then you can apply this texture to be masked to a certain location here on the terrain. And we can definitely get into that whenever we, like if I wanted to go here, then select a color outside of the program.
Show the color picker. This is new as well.
The color picker. So I'm selecting, you can see here, the color picker icon right here is within, let me go here and do this. So that's a bad example. Anyway, so yeah, the color picker I want to select, and this color picker works in pretty much any browser. So I'm here on my left monitor and I'm selecting a color in chat. So like Stefan's color in chat is this. and I press the keyboard to initiate that color. If I can get close enough. There we go. It's averaging out some colors here. There we go. So I selected a red color from chat, the chat window in Twitch, and I pressed spacebar, it initiated that color, and it worked. So it's pretty nice on how you can do this, and we'll dive into texturing more in a little bit, but it's really handy that you could use the satellite imagery here, use the color picker to select a color, and you can mask out the satellite image. And again, I'll dive that into next week's stream for sure. But the absolute last thing I wanted to say before we ended today's stream is that in this particular version, we now have, I believe we have export options. So we can have, or you can create presets of your own. If I wanted to export the height map of this, you just add the element, which I believe we'll just do here. Add the height map as an element. And then we'll run through this, but seemingly we can specify, hey, we want to run through all of these different options to export height map, or if I want to export the normal map, and it just crashed on me. But you get the idea.
Well, the presets are actually meant for, you are creating presets. For example, let's say you want to export for Unity or for Unreal. Then you're setting up a preset for Unity and for Unreal. You're doing stuff for Octane. You're setting up a preset for Octane. And the preset contains a number of textures that you want to export. For example, for Unity, the height maps might be in a specific format. You need to how's it said, rotate them or whatever, right? For Unreal, they need also to be in a different format than in Unity. Okay, so this is what the presets are actually meant for, and the presets are globally available, which means you can set up presets for all your stuff, for all your workflow, and manipulate the data that you want, and just hit the export button, and just exports all the required textures within a feature. For example, if you now you created an empty. There you go. It's crashed again. Okay.
Yeah, it crashed again. Well, they'll get that working.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
So this really helps a lot. It really helps a lot, and I don't know why we didn't do that exactly the same way in World Creator 2, because it's really weird. But now we have it in World Creator 2021, and yeah, I love it already. So it makes your life a lot easier having those presets.
Naturally.
Yeah, and here, especially for these maps, there will be a search functionality for cities or just for regions. Which actually means, currently you just can enter the location using the longitude and latitude information, but in a later version you can of course use names, whatever, to find the location of your choice.
Just like a regular Google Maps or Google Earth search function, being able to find, right. type in your own street address, and it goes straight to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Naturally. All right. So seemingly that's how it works. And we'll, of course, right now, I guess the main export people would love to have is height maps. So we can definitely export, and you can do all these settings to change it however you need. But that is all that I personally wanted to run through today without going too far. We're almost getting close to an hour and a half. And next Monday and possibly next Wednesday, I'll run a couple more streams to where we just actually create something in here, as opposed to spending most of our time on announcements. But we had some great announcements that we definitely wanted to get through, so that was definitely no problem at all. The very last question that I have is this version or the revised version that I'm running right now. When do you project or hope that would be available to all of the either alpha users or pro users right now?
Well, we thought about end of April, and until now, there are no changes. So it will be end of April that we want to release the next update.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we need to, as you see here, we had 2 or 3 times a crash. We need to polish a little bit and see and get rid of the bugs. And yeah, one of the things is, yes, exactly, that map thing needs to be moved over to the Surface tab. But
Mm-hmm.
once this is done, we are ready for the next update, for the next alpha update. Yeah, and you
Definitely.
can see there's also a toolbar on the right side now. So on the
Oh,
left side,
down here
there's a toolbar, right?
and
And then
over
we
here.
have this small toolbar here. Um, this will be a large one actually. There will be a lot of shading settings, making your visuals a bit more pretty, especially when it's about selecting heights. There will be a lot of quick accessors like turning clouds or on off, turning water on off, and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So also turning off the real time generation. You don't have to go to the settings tab all the time.
Oh yeah, having these options here in the tab, just like you're used to from World Creator 2, those little quick actions.
Right, exactly. So, and maybe we will have the AI stuff so that I can show more about the AI stuff. Maybe we have this finished until end of April as well,
Mm-hmm.
so that it is in a quality that I can show. And yeah, but I think we will do this until then. So be prepared for something really cool. That's real. That will be really a huge thing, actually.
Definitely. So does because I haven't been paying too much of attention to questions in chat. I know you and both Stefans have been answering questions in chat off and on. Is there any final sort of questions that you guys wanted to run through and ask before we close the stream today? I know I've answered a few. Again, I also, while these are possibly coming in, wanted to throw out that, again, the AI feature, the MapTiler feature, and the future texturing features that I'll showcase are all additional features, and you don't have to use them. There's nothing saying that if you have a source, if you have a LiDAR scan of a place on the planet, or you have your own government source providing height map data, you can import those in the traditional height map way for sure, and then overlay some textures on top of that. This is, again, just an additional feature to have stuff integrated within World Creator 2021. And we'll, of course, update you guys whenever the new other pipelines that we mentioned earlier into the announcements come into play. And, of course, we'll showcase these things hopefully on a weekly basis henceforth. Are we going to have more options for texturing splat generating? Yeah, I'm sure that would be an option to have more texturing for splat maps.
What do you mean, splat maps? I mean, splat maps, you can export them if that was the question.
Are we going to have more options for texturing splat generating? I'm assuming it was splat maps, but
you mean importing splats, existing splats, and use them for texturing?
I think so.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. This will be a simple image import distribution in the texturing system.
And it'll also be a simple export too. You can export your own splat maps.
Of course.
Absolutely. It goes two ways.
It also will be a context-based export. If you want to select, for example, you want to export very, very quickly the snow stuff here on this terrain, then you could just select, in this case, the color, and it will export everything that is near that color as, you know.
Yes. Yeah, and I think
if you already have applied a color and use that using the distributions to achieve texturing, you can just select that color and say texturing export, and just exports the mask automatically. So you don't have to go the long way using the export tab, actually. Heat maps, yes, heat maps. Heat maps will be available, such as in World Creator 2. It will be an on-off function that you can use when distributing or applying the effects. They will work for the filters, for the textures, for the objects. And objects will come. Well, for the objects, we're not going to support all available formats anymore, because this was a nightmare in World Creator 2. So we're just going to support one single format. This is one of the latest OpenGL formats that look pretty awesome. And actually, you can use other tools for converting your 3D formats to that format, which is open, which is very flexible, which is pretty fast. And so we don't have to support all possible formats with all the issues they have. So this is one of the things that we're going to change definitively. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Also drop the library, actually. So there won't be a model library or texturing library anymore, because it doesn't make any sense. In previous, World Creator 2, we had a library, right? Where you just import your stuff and sort your stuff. But it doesn't make any sense, because the library, the users already have their texturing library and the model library sorted physically on their hard disk. And this is something that you don't need to do anymore. You just drag drop inside World Creator, and there it is.
Exactly. So, last question. Can I pay for this in Bitcoin? Bit of a
Yeah. One single Bitcoin is all enough.
It's only one Bitcoin for everyone. Yeah.
It's all cool. Yeah.
Just one Bitcoin.
Just one Bitcoin. It sounds like one Bitcoin.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll cut it there, and again, we'll do some more actual creation next week for you guys. Stefan, thank you for joining me and providing this update for everybody, and thank you guys for joining in on the stream on these for these exciting announcements, and I can't wait to see more. So you guys have a great day, and thanks for joining, and we'll see you in the next one.